So have you ever been to a presentation where the speaker or the trainer was unprepared? They were fiddling, trying to load their PowerPoint at the last moment. They were searching for notes. They struggled with questions, didn't have answers for questions. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to the webinar on 10 steps to help you prepare for every presentation. Now, these are just 10 steps. There are other steps you may need to consider depending on what kind of event you're running. I'm off to Darwin tomorrow, and I've just had an email from the venue checking on my room setup, checking on the catering, checking on dietary requirements. These are kind of the logistics behind the setup, and I do have a checklist for those kinds of events if you would like to know more. This is more about you as the speaker, how to prepare. So we'll get underway and take notes, ask questions as you go. If I can't answer a question, I will find out and get back to you. So the agenda, the 10 steps: personally, getting nerves, anxiety under control, doing preparation, but specific targeted preparation, speech in a simple structure to extent that maybe you don't need to use notes, clarity of core message. The reverse of clarity of core message is scattergun message, scattergun approach. The right attitude: I've just come back from up north at one of the mining sites. You wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning to get ready, start presenting at 7 a.m. It's hard to keep energized and bring the right attitude. Your non-verbal communication, what's your body saying about you? Your Q&A, bad Q&A can destroy many presentations. Using the platform, the lectern, where are you standing? Your audio visual, your PowerPoint, how are you using that? And how are you going to get feedback? What feedback loop have you put in place for your presentation? Let's go through these in detail one by one. A lot of content to cover in half an hour, so I'll move fairly quickly. First one: have you got your nerves under control? What do you do as you're being introduced? What do you do before a presentation? I arrive early, I do relaxations. I like circular breathing. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold that for 4 seconds. Breathe out for 4 seconds. Hold that for 4 seconds. That slows your breathing down to about 5 breaths per minute. Are you prepared for anything? Have you got your contingency plans, your backups? You've got the right mindset. We'll talk about attitude later on. Positive mindset. Do you understand that the nerves are healthy? They're going to put you in your peak performance mode. Can you assess your nerves on a scale? Are they too high? What do you do to bring your nerves down to a healthy level? Are they too low? So you're lacking energy, you're flat, you're blasé. Bring them up to that healthy mid-range level, what we call peak performance. Learning to manage your nervous energy, any anxiety, any fear is really valuable in terms of your ability to be an effective public speaker. One of the myths: I need to get rid of my nerves before public speaking. No. You bring your nerves with you at a healthy level. Have you done the right level of preparation? What do I mean by the right level of preparation? Do you know your audience? Are there any cultural nuances? Yesterday I had to acknowledge the traditional landowners, the Nepali people. What does the audience want from you? What's their biggest headache? And how does your message take that headache away? Do you have to use stories that relate to the mining sector, to the health sector, to the finance and superannuation sector? Different audiences, different stories. So the metaphor I use, and most people will have heard this, walk 30 moons in your enemy's moccasins before you understand them. Walk in your audience's footsteps before you learn to really understand their needs. It's about doing your research, pre-workshop questionnaire, phone call to a few key influencers, Google what's the values, what's the mission of that organisation if you're doing a corporate in-house. Know your venue. I travel a lot. You're invited to speak at a conference. I'm speaking at a conference next month, and I will have to arrive at the venue early. Yesterday, I got to the venue as soon as I could, 6 a.m, ready for a 7 a.m. start. That hour was invaluable because there was some technical problems. I had to learn about the lights, how to dim the lights so that when I showed a video. Room setup, I needed to change the room setup just a little bit. The people were too close to me, and it meant that if I moved forward, then I would be in their personal space. So you need to own the venue. You need to know it inside out. This is easy if you're a corporate trainer and you keep training at the same room. If you travel and you go in-house to different venues, or you get invited to speak at a conference, to deliver a seminar, get to the room early. Become familiar with what sort of audio visual. Do you need a microphone in a bigger conference? And the conference I spoke about, yes. And what sort of microphone? I will get a lapel microphone. I am not good holding a handheld microphone and speaking. I need my hands to gesture, so I have requested a lapel microphone, or one of those Madonna microphones, not a big one like this, the slimline ones that you barely even see. And that enables you to move around the platform, use your gestures, and move forward, backwards, engage the audience. Know your content. Sometimes people just read from their notes. It's not engaging. Read the audience. If the audience is not agreeing with you, you may need to go deeper, or you may need to backtrack. If the audience is glazing over, falling asleep, what exercise do you have that will re-engage them? We use this term in the professional speaking sector. Can you plug and play? So what that means is, can you take yourself, in other words, can I or can you go to any venue, anytime, anywhere, and deliver your content and have the same impact in 20 minutes, in 45 minutes, in 90 minutes? Because this ability to plug and play, be adaptable and stretch is really valuable. What if the speaker before you goes into your time and your 45-minute keynote, the conference organizer says you need to finish it in 35 minutes? But hang on, I thought I had 45 minutes. You now want me to do it in 35. Yes, I need you to, so we can go to lunch on time. This is about that plug and play. What if there's a power failure? What if the data projector does not work? And this is a true case for myself. Went to a mining site and they had a scheduled shutdown of power to change over generators. And so I was 2 hours of a 7-hour workshop with no power. There was enough daylight, I had flip charts, and the show went on. So this is your preparation. Know your audience, know your venue, your equipment, know your content, your subject matter, and have it so flexible that no matter what happens, the show goes on. A simple structure of your speech. First 30 seconds, you're opening. Is it strong? Is it noteworthy? Is it memorable? It's called the rule of primacy. Is your take-home message, your summary, your call to action, that strong ending? It's called the rule of recency. So in about 20 minutes time, when I stop talking, the last words I say, apparently you'll remember. They'll be freshest. Keep it simple. Too many presenters, speakers, trainers go very, very complex. People don't remember that much information. I like to keep my presentations to 3 key points that then lead to the core message. And it's the core message that people will remember. So my 3 points will lead to and amplify, illustrate my core message. So it all comes down to your core message. And most importantly, make it relevant to the audience. You can do a beautiful speech structure, start strong, have a wonderful call to action, really strong core message, and the audience says, why do I care? That's not relevant to me. I couldn't give a damn. Then you're giving the wrong message to that audience. And maybe you haven't walked 30 moons in your audience's footsteps. So just remember, make sure your message is relevant to everyone in the room. Let's get rid of those drawings. That's your simple structure. What is your core message? So I spoke about that. This is your clarity of purpose. This is being clear on what one thing do you want people to remember. And I worked with a group of people in the mining sector yesterday, and one person's core message was simply this: fatigue. Fatigue is a big cause of potential accidents, potential near misses. Fatigue. Don't drive fatigued. Don't work fatigued. There was no doubt about what he was saying. If you are fatigued, let me know. Get on the two-way radio. If you're a driver, I'll give you permission. We'll find somewhere for you to pull over for 5 minutes for that micro nap. Fatigue is the issue, no doubt, no doubt. So be clear of what your core message is. One of the things we did was I got everyone to write down what the speaker, because I ran a workshop yesterday, what each of the speaker's core messages was. Write it down. So we have 10 people reading out what they've written down. This person who spoke about fatigue, all 10 people said fatigue. Fatigue's an issue. Don't drive fatigued. Don't work fatigued. Then some of the other speakers, people said, don't do this. And the next person said, no, 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 do this. And the next person said, no, 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 she was talking about this. So that's what I call scattergun approach, or mixed messages. In other words, if you say mixed messages, whatever you say, it really doesn't matter, because people will interpret it however way they want, which is not what you want, which is not what you want to happen. So this clarity of purpose, stay on money, or else you may confuse it. They will confuse it. Your attitude, be passionate. That first date mentality, go the extra mile, new shoes, brush your teeth. Not for public speaking, but yeah, do brush your teeth for public speaking. I mean, what would you do for a first date? What are you going to do for that audience? What's the 1%er you can do? So these webinars I offer free. to people who've done my workshops. An attitude that shows, an attitude of caring, of being aligned and genuine. And it needs to come out through your skin, through your voice, through your eyes lighting up on what you're speaking about. How are you going to make a good first impression? So this is your body language. What's your body saying about you? How do you walk in? Do you shake hands with everyone? Do you greet? Do you greet with a smile? Do you make eye contact or do you avoid eye contact? They say that women form an opinion within 4 to 5 seconds. Men, 7 to 8 seconds. So the way you walk in, the way you conduct yourself, and people are judging you. So if you're up the front getting organised as people come in and sit down for a seminar, they're making an opinion of you. You have control over this. You have control over the way you behave, the way you stand, the way you breathe, the way you greet people, the way you energise the room before you've even spoken a word. So I do a audit of my own energy, my own non-verbal communication. I don't do fig leaves. I don't do aggressive stance. I do a mirror and match handshake. I don't crush or do a floppy fish handshake. I mirror and match the handshake that I get. Are you ready for questions and answer? Who's in the room? Are there people who what you're going to say is going to affect them? i.e. you're giving them bad news? What question don't you want to be asked? I hope they don't ask me that question. Make sure you prepare an answer. If you don't know the answer, what do you say? So Peter, thanks for that question. That's really quite a tough question. I don't have that data. I don't have those numbers at my fingertip. Can I get back to you within 24 hours? Can I get back to you before the end of the day? Prepare for difficult questions. And this is your preparation. Walk 30 moons in your enemy's moccasins. What headache are you the paracetamol for that audience? What problem are you solving? What headache are you taking away? If you were in their shoes, what questions would you ask a speaker? Have answers. Prepare for your Q&A. Are you using the platform effectively? So I'm talking about don't stand behind a lectern. Trainers often stand behind their table. They have their books and their notes and they stand and deliver behind the trainer. I always come around the front, so there's no barrier between me and yourself. I've just emailed room set up for Darwin, and I've said please leave plenty of room between the data projector, which will be data projecting that way onto the screen, and my audience sits here. I want plenty of room between that table and my audience so that I can walk back and forth, forward and across. What do most room setups look like? Here's the data projector. Here is the front row. So therefore the speaker needs to stand behind the table, the data projector, and you get that inability to be really vulnerable and share your passion, your idea so closely with the audience. Don't get in the audience's personal space, but I want enough space between the data projector and the front row of my audience to be able to move towards them, to illustrate a point and to move back, which is part of using the platform. Claim your space. I like a setup with a whiteboard on one side, the data projector is generally in the middle, and I have a flip chart on the other side. So therefore my walking is not just aimlessly back and forth. I'll go to the flip chart and I'll draw something. Then I'll just settle on the platform, talk a little bit about what I've just drawn. Then I'll move across to the middle, present some content in the middle. If something comes up that I want to do on a whiteboard, I'll go over to the whiteboard and also use the whiteboard. So the mistake is when you aimlessly wander back and forth. We call this a cat on a hot tin roof. The speaker who paces back and forth, I'll stop doing that now, drives people crazy. And move forward to make a strong point. Not in their personal space, but move forward. And then step back a little bit when you're doing your normal presentation. I can spend, I guess, an hour just on effective use of the platform. Step 9, are your audio visuals engaging the audience and PowerPoint? So don't do death by PowerPoint. So bullet points, you may have noticed I haven't done bullet points in this presentation. So bullet point words, bullet point words, bullet point words, bullet point words. So no bullet points. They say that bullet points is shooting your audience one bullet at a time. So eliminate noise. So this is when your slides transition with a big boom, or the curtains reveal, the curtain reveal, and all this stuff happens and all of a sudden words appear or a picture appears. This is what we call noise, visual noise, and adds nothing to your PowerPoint slide. So your slide needs to pop. What you're trying to say needs to be easy to see. So you don't need logos. I haven't got a logo down here. This is slide 24. There's no slide number. You don't see my website down the bottom. You don't see my mobile phone number. You don't see that I work for myself, corporate communications experts. All of this information on every slide is what we call noise. Make your slides pop, easy to see. Use graphs or photos. I'm using more and more photos that I've taken myself. Do black your slides. Remember I said using the platform, flip chart, whiteboard, flip chart over here, whiteboard over here. I walk to the middle to speak, but there's the data projector. So I'm creating possibly shadows, or I'm stopping people from looking at the screen. You can black the screen. I've told this on my webinars before, but just hit the B button, B for black. I'm still here. I've just hit B. So now you're looking at me. You've got a blank screen. Let me do that again. I'll hit B again. Now it's back. So when I hit B to reveal, I'll now move to one side. So you've now got a clear view of the audio visual I'm showing. Use a flip chart and whiteboard. Bring props. I hand out books. Feel the Fear and Do It Anyhow by Dr. Susan Jeffers, when I talk about overcoming fear. And I just hand that book out and say, this is one of the best self-help books we have available. And tip number 10, how are you going to receive feedback? And I'd welcome any feedback from this webinar and any other webinars you'd like to hear from me. What have I skipped over in this webinar? What would you like to hear more of? Please send me that feedback via email. In the next 24 hours would be great. I want immediate feedback. I don't want you to email me in 6 weeks' time and say, Peter, that webinar that you delivered, I just noticed that. Which webinar was that? So make it immediate, specific. Just don't say, oh, it was a shocker. Oh, it was really, really, really good. I liked it. From a continuous improvement perspective, what can you do with that was good, that was bad? What do you mean it was good? What did you like? What do you mean it was bad? What could I change? What could I do better? Get a trusted audience member to give you feedback, a friend or a colleague after your presentation to give you specific feedback. If you want to practice your gestures, your non-verbal communication, you can do that in a mirror, or you can video record yourself. Just take your smartphone, hand it to someone, or you can put it on a tripod, and after you've done your presentation, you can review the video and self-coach yourself, or email that file to a colleague, a mentor who can then coach you on things that went well in that presentation, things you could change. So there's the 10 steps. Have you got your nerves under control? Have you done sufficient preparation around your audience, around your room, around your topic? Is your speech in a simple structure? Start strong, end strong. Clarity of message, core message, no doubt. Have you got the right attitude? I'm pleased to be here. This is important. I'm going to help you. What is your body saying about you? Those first 5 to 7 seconds, the handshake. Difficult questions. Don't let your presentation suffer through a poor Q&A. Use the platform effectively and confidently. That'll enhance your engagement and your professionalism as a speaker. Use your PowerPoint, your audio visuals, and how you get feedback. Feedback is the food of champions. A couple of workshops coming up around, as I mentioned, Darwin, 4 workshops in a row, then back to Perth, 1 in Bunbury. And next webinars, how to deal with fear of what others think. Public speaking from a service mindset. You're here to serve people. And the power of feedback when public speaking. We've just ended with feedback. So remember, this checklist will help you ensure that you have maximum impact, that you are really effective as a public speaker. So go out there, do your preparation, and have a positive, meaningful, lasting impact on your audiences, on your staff, on your communities every time you do public speaking. This is Peter Dew, signing out.